Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Kadar Bond, GMS Gulf Coast. I'd like to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors are given unto the apostle elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. I also like to send a shalom to the hopeful elect, the 1/3 of the nation of Israel, the speckled birds scattered throughout the four winds of planet Earth, north, south, east, and west. I also like to send a shalom to the various GMS camps, heads, and elders. And last but not least, I'd like to send a shalom to all of you Akim not named GMS, but walk in one body, one spirit in Yahweh Shai, with the 100% truth as taught to us all by the apostle elders of Great Millstone. To you all, shalom, shalom, shalom. Real quick, well, Lord willing to be quick, but as the case, if you watch my videos, you know that's never the case. Kind of long-winded, but through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, hopefully they be edifying to feed the lambs of the 1/3 of the nation of Israel that hears this. But having said that, I was looking at this news feed right here. It says ABC News, United Nations suspends Russia from Human Rights Council. And I mean, just from the title alone, mind you, let me start. Let me start. This is a news report on ABC News. I'm using this clip for educational purposes only. My channel is not monetized. I get no monetary gain whatsoever. I'm using this as is allowed in the Fair Use Act. You know, so I'm just using this just for educational purposes only. Now, having said that, let's get back to the subject matter and dealing with. Of course, this is ABC News. This is a news platform here in America, a mainstream news platform at that. So, of course, there's the noise coming off that platform is always going to be biased, you know. But what they say about the other so-called white people, the Russians, so forth and so on, the same could be said about these white folks, the so-called Americans. You understand? And in retrospect, if you have the spiritual discernment that the Most High granted on you, you can understand that they're just pointing out the ills and the defects and the lawless and unhumane nature of themselves as a group. They like to categorize things, you know what I'm talking about, put things in categories. Russians, Ukrainians, Americans, Europeans, Swedes, French, Germany. Well, overall, they are the same people, you understand? They are so-called white folks because just like you see right here in your bottom right-hand corner, if you're facing this, it says NBC Live, and they got a white poster with black letters in it. And if you look at the lady that's sitting there, she is nowhere near the color of white. She's a pinkish color at best, which is pink is a derivative of red. So they're all the same people. They may speak different languages and different lingos and whatnot, but they are the same stock. They are the same lineage. And they hide behind these labels that they give themselves. But I say that to say this, that the ills and the inconsistencies of the countries that they're beefing with is also the ills and inconsistencies that they show themselves, but never take the blame for it. They never own up to it. But anyway, we're going to listen to these hypocrites speak. And we're going to pull a few precepts and close out.
The United Nations today voting to suspend Russia from the Human Rights Council in response to the atrocities in Ukraine after more than 400 civilians were discovered slaughtered in Bucha. Let's bring in my co-anchor, ABC News senior national correspondent Terry Moran, who's in Lviv, along with ABC News contributor and former senior CIA field operative Daryl Blocker. He's with us here in our nation's capital. Terry, of course, we'll start with you. Russia now the second country to ever be suspended from the Human Rights Council after Libya, of course, was removed in 2011. What do you think this means for Russia moving forward, if anything?
Lock it real quick. Libya was removed in 2011. You see this? But if you check the track record, let me say that again. If you check the track record of the ruling faction here in the United States, going back to George Washington all the way up until the day to Biden, and there are atrocities, there are lynchings, there are burnings of the whole towns. You know, what you think the Civil Rights Act was about? You know, inhumane treatments of the tribes of the nation of Israel, you so-called Black, Latino, Native, and Seminole Americans. But they point the finger everywhere else, but they never point the finger at themselves. You understand? These people are pure hypocrites. They are the persona of hypocrites. And real quick, let's get the definition of hypocrite, if I may. If I may, let's get the definition. Matter of fact, no.
According to vocabulary.com, the word hypocrite is rooted in the Greek word hypocrites, which means stage actor, pretender, dissembler. So think of a hypocrite as a person who pretends to be a certain way, but really acts and believes the total opposite.
You heard her. You heard her. The word hypocrite is rooted in the Greek word hypocrites, which means stage actor. And when you look at these people, they always sitting at a podium or whatnot. They're scripted. They're not speaking from their own free will. They have a script that they have to read from. And if you go into the history of these journalists and whatnot, a lot of them are failed actors and actresses. Yes, Google it. This is nothing that's been made up for brought out thin air. This is true, what I've just said. They are failed actors and actresses. And this is a secondhand job. It's just like a lawyer. You know, you go to law school and you don't pass the bar. You know, you hit the bar with a low score, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to pay for that test. And if you don't score high enough to go into your own practice or go under someone who has years in practice, then guess what you become? A state or court-appointed lawyer. Yes. That's the second way, that's the second tier job to being a lawyer. You don't get to go and practice and get to charge what you want to charge and become wealthy or well off behind it. You have to take a second tier job working for the state, for the courts, where you're a court appointed, meaning you're not getting paid by a client, you're getting paid by the state. Same goes with these journalists and journalist women. They're failed actors and actresses for the most part. So the word hypocrite is rooted in the Greek word hypocrites, which means stage actor, pretender, dissembler. So think of a hypocrite as a person who pretends to be a certain way, but really acts and believes the total opposite. And this is what these people here in the U.S. are. All of them are. Don't get me wrong, but these are the ones that are pointing the finger as though they don't never do anything wrong. Let's see. The origins of hypocrite. Let's look at this real quick. We're going to get back to the video. Just a little foundation. That's all. Just a little foundation. It says world history, Merriam-Webster, since 1828. The common word has a dramatic origin story. It says a number of different things might pop to mind when we hear the word hypocrite. Maybe it's a politician. Slacker. Maybe it's a politician caught in a scandal. Maybe it's a religious leader doing something counter to their creed. Maybe it's a schemer and a cunning character featured in soap opera. But it's likely that the one thing that doesn't come to mind is theater. It says a theatrical mask from the 1st century BCE. Hypocrite comes from the Greek word hypocrite, which means an actor. The word hypocrite ultimately came into English form from the Greek word hypocrite, which means an actor or a stage player. The Greek word itself is a compound noun. It's made up of two Greek words that literally translates as an interpreter from underneath. That bizarre compound makes more sense when you know that the actors in ancient Greek theaters wore large masks to mark which character they were playing, and so they pretended the story from underneath their mask. I chop up words, Slakia. It says the Greek word took on an extended meaning to refer to any person who was wearing a figurative mask and pretending to be someone or something they were not. And the United States pretend to be a peacemaker. It pretends to be a liberator. You understand what I'm saying? This is what this country stands for. This is what they promote, democracy. But in actuality, when you look at the actions of what they promote and the actions, if you look at the actions versus the words, then you have to define democracy as something demonic. It's not what they're playing it to be when you go into these people countries and you rob, steal, maim, and rape, because that goes on as well. What you think goes on when the United States invade other countries and whatnot, like Afghanistan and Iraq? What you think went on? That George W. Bush wouldn't allow you to see those pictures coming from the war. Then they turn around, a few ticks later and blame another group of Edomites, so-called white folks, for the same thing that they do. But their hands are never dirty. This is a classic case of hypocrites. I'm gonna read a little more, and then I'm gonna go back to the article. Something that were not okay. This sense was taken into medieval French and then into English, where it showed up with its earlier spelling, hypocrite. I don't know how to say that. And 13th century religious texts to refer to someone who pretends to be morally good, pretend to be morally good. And these people pretend to be morally good. But in actuality, they pass laws that are immoral, goes against the moral laws. A blaring example is that LGBT movement and the laws that were passed to right that, to make that to be right, and the laws passed to protect that ungodly behavior. You understand? Anyway, pretend to be morally good or pious in order to deceive others. See? It's just to deceive you. It's just all this is. This whole society is set up to deceive you. Hypocrites gain an initial H. Hypocrite gained its initial H by the 16th century. Look at that. They add letters and whatnot. You dig? It's like the letter J. It took a surprisingly long time for hypocrite to gain its more general meaning that we use today, a person who acts in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings. Our first citation for this use are from the early 1700s, nearly 500 years after hypocrite first stepped onto English stage. Yes, but you just want to get a little history on the hypocrites that we're listening to. We just want to get a little history on it. And they sit up there just bold and fresh dressed and all of the above. You understand? Anyway, let's get back to it.
Tractor Supply is ready to help start your garden because nothing beats the taste of fresh herbs and veggies straight from your own.
What do you think this means for Russia moving forward, if anything?
Well, it does have symbolic power, Kira. It is a rebuke, a moral rebuke of Russia. The whole world has seen as the Russian troops retreated in the face of Ukrainian army counterattacks, what they did in the towns and places that they occupied here in the country. And this vote by the United Nations Human Rights Council is a moral rebuke. It is essentially an expression of disgust at the conduct of the Russian army and its leadership. And another way, as the international community...
And they could just sit there and say that with a straight face, disgust. That shows you that these people, let me get it real quick. These people are morally without spirit. They can sit there and say that shit slacky. I want to make it clean. They can sit there and say that with a straight face, knowing the things that they have done. You understand? Knowing the things that they're doing now. It's just, I'll tell you the truth. This is Habakkuk 2 and verse 4, and it reads, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him." He said that with that disgust. The whole world is sitting, seeing the things that Russia has done in the face of the Ukrainian army, setting this whole stage for it's just disgusting how they could just sit there with a straight face and say these things, and discuss about something that they're doing, because the Russians are just essentially the same people speaking in a different language and whatnot, the exact same people. These U.S. Edomites essentially have done the same things and worse things. This country has been at war since its inception over 245 years ago. They've been at war about 229 years. What do you think comes in war? What do you think the things that happen during war? You go invade other folks' land. Just look at the history of what they done to Gad, so-called North American Indian. Look at what they did, huh? Look at what Christopher Columbus them did to the Tainoian Indians down there in the rich Puerto Rico, huh? Tribe of Ephraim. Look at it. Look what they did to the southern tribe of the nation of Israel, so-called blacks, Haitians, Benjaminites, and Judites. Look at what they've done. Their history still stands. They have statues erected and honor these people. These people are not moral. They're not morally. They're not spiritual. They don't have a moral spirit. Thus the scripture, Habakkuk 2 and verse 4, and it reads, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up," because he's proud, "is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." Yes, the just going into the 1/3 of the nation of Israel are going to live by faith. We have faith that our power, Yahweh, through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, is going to come to the rescue. for returning back, for repenting, for rehearsing the righteous acts, doing these things to the best of our ability. You understand? Verse 5, it says, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man. Yes, he goes around the world promoting democracy. He goes around the world promoting feminine rights. Yeah, he goes around the world promoting Pride Day. You follow what I'm saying? And the nations are blatantly pissed off with this with these clowns. Yes, these nations, these other nations. Let's see who the other nations are real quick. Let's finish this real quick. It said, yea, also, because he transgressed by wine. That's his philosophy. You understand? What he goes around spreading as the new thing. You know, talking about this is what the world should be doing. He's spreading his philosophy, his wine, getting all the nations drunk with it. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Yeah, and it was prophesied for him to be driven up out of Mount Seir. That's why he all over the place. If he was still in the mountains, in Mount Seir, them hoofing and hollering like goats and donkeys, walking on all fours, like the inbred he is, it's like it. And everywhere he go, you know, hey, look at here, death and hell follow this man. He goes into the country, he suck them dry, and he off to the next. It's just like they try to play off in those movies, like what it was, Independence Day, when the scientists say, I see what the president, I believe, he said, I seen what they doing. They going from planet to planet, drying up the resources, and then they move on to the next. That was them inadvertently speaking about themselves. What the scripture says, it says, who enlargeth his desires hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations and heaped unto him all people. He can't be satisfied. He gonna go. He was in South America down there in Venezuela, trying to overthrow a country so that they can get their natural resources. Just suck this planet up dry. This planet would be anemic if the Lord don't come back soon. You understand? He trying to suck it out of every crack and crevice, every platonic plate. He got a drill bit. You know what I'm saying? This man is nothing. He's no good to himself. He's just no good. A blatant hypocrite now. Anyway, let's go back to the. Oh no! I wanted to go somewhere else through the spirit. Keep it at home. It escapes me now. Let's go back to the clip. That escaped me. So let's go back to the clip. It's like it.
He has done of condemning the entire Russian invasion of Ukraine. So as a symbolic matter, that does matter, because it isolates Russia morally in the world. It's not just the votes of diplomats at the United Nations. It's in the minds and hearts of people around the world who have seen these images, who understand what it means about Russia and its leaders.
Listen to them trying to coach you, trying to give you the mindset. It's what they understand, the images, and trying to coach you into, this is them making a plea, you understand? Their propaganda. You gotta demonize your enemy so that everybody come on board. There won't be no too big of a backlash once you go at who you going after you done dehumanize them. You know what I'm saying? You belittle them. You know what I'm talking about? But at the same time, we're talking about hypocrites here. And they can sit here and say this with a straight face.
And it does then, I think, put some pressure, not a lot, but it makes the calculation more difficult for countries like China and India and Pakistan and other countries that continue to have dealings with Russia. How close do you want to be to a Russia governed by Putin and Putinism? And this is one of those days where you have to think twice about it because of that.
Listen to them. Now let's go into that. Those other nations that are dealing with Russia, right? Real quick. Because, see, all these other nations, they're going into slavery, too. This ain't nothing but one big old Ponzi scheme that the Lord is playing on these people. You understand? Got them in a trick bag. Now, what was I looking for? Okay, Psalms, yes. See, all these people are enemies. They sitting there running game like it's them. And now all of them are choosing sides now. See, these people always had problems with one another. But their biggest problem was you Israelites. You so-called blacks, Latino, Native, and Seminole Americans, which make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You've been the biggest problem. And for long, they're gonna make that personally known that you've always been on the forefront of their mind, even as they have these in-house skirmishes. This is Psalms 83, and it reads, keep not thou silent, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. Verse 2, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. You so-called blacks, Latinos, Native, and Seminole Americans, which make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. 2/3 of you will not admit who you are, will not come back to this. Still calling yourself blacks, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, and Guamanians, and Brazilians, and Jamaicans, and Haitians, and you still the hidden ones. You still the hidden ones, going by those proverbs and bywords. You still not have come back into this fold. Verse 4, it says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. And that's why you call yourselves blacks, Latinos, Mexicans, and Blackfoot Indians, and Puerto Ricans, and Haitians, and Cubans, and so forth and so on. You still cut off. And the remedy is right here. Verse 5, it says, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom. First and foremost, them same people that sit up there pointing the finger at some most so-called white folks. Those are enemy number one. The ones that sit behind these computers, these national security agencies and whatnot. The ones that sit back and hack and whatnot, listen to everybody's conversations and whatnot. These people are enemy number one. Yes, I'm saying it. Enemy number one. The so-called white people. Esau, Edom. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab. You got your Muslims, your Ishmael. The ones that are sitting in them damn convenience stores selling you fried chicken baked in lard and pig grease. Same ones that don't food with pork selling you pork fried chicken. Because he know who you are. And Moab selling you goddamn rats, bats, and cats. Talking about some damn orange chicken. What the hell? Never seen no damn chicken thin as three sheets of paper. People better wake up. And of Haggarings. That's going into the if I'm not mistaken, that's going into the Hamitic people, so-called Africans. Yes, they ganged up with them so-called white folks and Ishmael. You understand? To gather you up and sail you across the Atlantic Ocean. Verse 7, it says, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek. Amalek is the top tribe of the so-called white folks. These are ones who are really pulling the purse strings. The ones that really never get talked about. by name. They just get called the elites. They're the elites of wickedness and pulling the purse strings and calling us in all kind of skirmishes between their people and their people. It says the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. It says Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. See? And Lot, you know the story of Lot, him and his daughter, who make up the tribe of Moab and Ammon, so-called Japanese and Chinese. Those are brothers. All these people are against us. And when you listen to the news and whatnot, these are the names that you hear. You don't hear the biblical names, but you hear the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, the Philippines, the Persians, or what they call the Iranians now, And they all sit up here pointing fingers and whatnot, especially Esau, so-called white folks here in America.
Daryl, reality check. Impact of this UN vote. I mean, it seemed to influence maybe in some way Libya back in 2011 with the upheaval there that actually brought down Muammar Gaddafi, who I remember the cell phone video. I remember the day that it happened, seeing his body just dragged through the streets, his own people picking up and protesting.
All right. You can go look it up for yourself. It says United Nations suspend Russia from Human Rights Council. You dig? I heard enough of that filth, that garbage about Muammar Gaddafi being drugged through the streets. I remember the footage and this and that and the third. You see how they can speak so openly? These people are hypocrites. And they're going to pay. You understand? All the nations are going to pay. All this old finger pointing back and forth and this and that and the third. Ultimately, the Most High going to bring all these people in subjection. All of them. Matter of fact, let me go to scripture here. I think it's the book of Isaiah 34. And it reads right here, Isaiah 34:1, it says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, all that are therein, the world, and all things that come forth of it." Huh? And how you hearing? You hearing the prophets? You hear the servants of the Most High Yahweh Shai out there on the highways and hedges, week in and week out. You hear it. You hear him. That's the Lord speaking. It says, "For the indignation of the Lord Yahweh is upon all nations, and his fear upon all their armies. He had utterly destroyed them. He had delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood." And I think that's all I wanted out of that. But now, these people, this is what I wanted to get to. I just wanted to bring that out real quick because the Lord's going to deal with all these people, all of them, starting with number one, Esau, Edom. Let me say it a third time for understanding. Starting with number one, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He finna deal with these folks. But then they sit over here and speak in that old hypocritical, proud tone as though that they can't be touched. So, lucky I did not mean to go out of there. Let me go. That proud, let's see. This is Isaiah 47. And I'm going to start at verse 1. And it reads, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." That's talking about America, because this place has never been popped. And when I mean pop, it's never been invaded. You know what I'm saying? As far as foreign troops that land feet over here, going back to the Revolutionary War. That was them basically. You dig what I'm saying? But but they have never been invaded. Just like they went into Afghanistan, like they went into Iraq. You know, the Allies went into Germany. You follow what I'm saying? You see what I'm going? They invaded Japan, you know what I'm saying, with those nuclear weapons and whatnot. You follow what I'm saying? You know, the sugar wars, you know, all kind of wars that this place has been involved in, where they have actually invaded their lands. This place hasn't been invaded. It's just like a woman that has not been penetrated. You understand what I'm saying? It says, "Come down and sit in the dust and the confusion." This place is full of confusion. But it's gonna be sure enough confused when the Lord just shut this place down. And he's close to pulling the purse strings or the spiritual strings of the left hand power of the elites to shut this place down. Because they're already talking about getting rid of the monetary system and going to this digital currency. Yes. Yes. O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. And you got all these dang witches and warlocks over here dealing with these damn elite politicians, these sorority groups, and these dang elite sport players and actresses and actors. They're all part of that witchcraft and all that old left-hand energy, sacrificing and so forth and so on. Wicked as hell. It says, verse 3, it says, "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." Now that's talking about our Lord and Savior Yahushua. Yeah, and your nakedness is being uncovered. I mean, all the little wicked stuff that you've been doing throughout the centuries, you know, talking about for the past 400, 500, 600 years or so, it's all coming to the light. All your little lies and all your little seats of things that you've done, this spread of democracy, you know what I'm talking about? Whenever they invade a country, then you create more problems by doing that than you do by what you claim to be coming over there and fixing that. What happened to all the people that had to be displaced? The people who ultimately don't have nothing to do with it. The refugees, you understand? Biden telling them folks that they need to take in these refugees, but he could say that he's 7,000 miles on the other side of the planet, and he ain't giving no first class tickets to no refugees over to Babylon, aka America. These people are hypocrites, man. But yeah, that shame is being shown up, just like what Joel Osteen didn't want to open up that church during that storm. You dig what I'm saying? So America don't want to open up her borders to so-called other white folks that are fleeing from an excursion that white folks started. Verse 4 says, no, let me keep going. It was a script that I wanted to get. Okay, here it is right here. Verse 8. I'm going to skip down to verse 8. It says, "Therefore hear now this, that thou art given to pleasure, that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am and none else." Let me start from the beginning again. "Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasure," talking about you Americans, and that's going for you 2/3 as well, "that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thy heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children." Oh, but yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're going to see it. That's just that proud nature. You understand what I'm saying? That's this place. That's a perfect description for this place here. Verse 9, "But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorcery, huh? All this old, you know what I'm saying, this left hand energy that you're doing over here, you know, sacrificing children to Mulek, you know, child trafficking, organs, and all of the things that you've been doing. It's coming out, you know, Pizzagate, all these things are coming to the light. Now, 2/3 of our people don't believe nothing unless it's a damn football game or a reality show. You understand? So we understand the ignorance thereof, of 2/3 of you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Americans. If it ain't got nothing to do with having fun and shaking your behind and whatnot, then no, of course you're not going to believe it. You know what I'm saying? But these things are happening nevertheless. It doesn't matter whether they believe it or not. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorcery and for the great abundance of thy enchantments, huh? With all this damn programming and TV and, you know what I'm saying, this rap music and all this crap. This got Jake in a trance. Verse 10, it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it had perverted thee, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and no else beside me. Therefore shall evils come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Yes. You ain't gonna be able to handle what the Lord just said up here. Let's go back real quick. Let's go real quick what the Lord said. Verse 3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take Salakia vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Now let's go right back down. Let's go right back down. And it reads right here, it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it had perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evils come upon thee, bad times coming. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, because the Lord said he's not going to meet you as a man. And mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, because the Lord said he ain't going to meet you as a man. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know, because the Lord said he ain't going to meet you as a man. Verse 12, stand now with thy enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorcery, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou mayest prevail. But you're not, because the Lord said what? I'm not going to meet you as a man. Verse 13, I'm going to read this right here, and I'm going to read 13 and 14. I'm going to close out. It says, thou art weird in the multitude of thy counsel. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Get with your council. Get with the UN. Get with the United Nations, NATO, and all them councils, and see if you can stop this. That's what you do. Dredge up all your 33rd Masons and your Eastern Stars and your Kappa Alpha Psis and all that old backhand, left hand junk, and see if it's gonna save you. That's what you do. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor a fire to sit before. Thus shall they be unto me with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter. None shall save thee. That's what's going to happen to these people. And 2/3 of our own people, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native and Seminole Americans who refuse to repent. The Lord says he's not going to meet you as a man. Lord willing, it was edifying. I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone. Shalom.